What's up, fine little mama or dada? I don't judge. As long as you're young enough. Ha ha! Red flag. I know him, you know him. And just like taxes, no matter how much you might want to, there's simply something you can't ignore. Right? I know the title of the video is probably ranking every red flag ever, but that's not gonna happen, obviously. There's way too many. Thankfully, clickbait is not on here. But if you want to see a red flag that I did not cover in this video, drop it in the comments down below and we can make a part 2. Let's get right to it. Here are our contenders for today. As you can see, a lot of them are pictures that you might not currently understand, but if you watch the video, I'll explain myself. We will be putting the red flags in the following categories. Run for the hills. This is something that is completely inexcusable. Rose-tinted glasses putting in work. This is something that is not really excusable, but if you really like someone, perhaps you can overlook it. Little dubious. It's not a make it or break it moment, but it is a warning sign. Yellow flag, obviously completely neutral, and green flag, as in good thing. And for our first red flag, how can I pick anything other than this dog that's looking at me like this? This is when someone mistreats or dislikes animals. There is nothing that makes me run for the hills faster than this. What is there even to mistreat or dislike here? They're so powerless, they're so cute, and I understand a lot of people have the need to hate. A lot of people have the need to show their power superiority because they're weak human beings. But instead of picking on animals, why don't you just go to your local elementary school and play kickball with the 6-year-olds? It's basically the same thing. I feel like we really don't need to talk about this too much. If your partner or love interest is mistreating animals, all I can say is wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes to plan in this accursed world. Alright, next up, I see that you see Tyler1 staring at you from the bottom of your screen. Let's put him over in yellow flag. This is in particular being a gamer. Perhaps this is just a reflection of me being chronically online, but I feel like we have finally as a society come to the time where gaming is not associated with such a negative stigma anymore. You have NBA players streaming instead of practicing. That's how you know you've made it as a gamer. Everyone games. It's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, it could be both. It's also definitely not a green flag, because speaking of the color green, there are far too many gamers who not only have the green aura with flies, but refuse to touch grass, which is much worse than the good type of gamer, but yellow flag nonetheless. Now on the topic of games, and something that is going directly in Run for the Hills red flag, is lying about your Path of Exile level. Now you might be thinking, there is not a chance that a human being on the planet Earth decides to pick such a niche game with a devout fan base to lie in front of thousands of millions of people. That would be quite pathetic, wouldn't you say? Picking not a game that you're actually actively interested in, but some game to somehow try to fool people into thinking you're just like one of them kids. My guy, if you were potentially to do this, why don't you potentially have one of your 74 children actually love you? Next up, I want to talk about being rude to service workers or the service industry. This is also an instant run for the hills red flag. We could go on an hour-long tirade about this, but I feel like you kind of already get the point because I've said, why would you mistreat animals? And then we've got gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone is trying to convince you that you are the problem when they are in fact the one at fault. For gaslighting, I think we need to make a new tier. Doesn't exist. Perfect. We're putting gaslighting in the doesn't exist tier. I've never really understood this. If someone is telling you that you're the problem, then we should take them as face value. You are the problem. Since we've already talked about gaming, I feel like we may as well talk about anime, not Satoru Gojo, because if someone claims to be Satoru Gojo or has a personality like that, instant red flag. I'm gonna put anime in Lil Dubious. It's similar to gaming, unfortunately a little more dubious. Here's the thing. Anime has also reached a point where it's okay to watch. Unfortunately, unlike gaming, there are so many more anime and anime fans that are sus than gaming fans. For instance, imagine if someone told you that they watched something like this. Immediately alarms are going off in your head and you're like, okay, I was not prepared to interact with a sociopath today. And I'm not saying that you're a red flag if you watch anime, but if your potential lover does watch anime, I feel like it's worth putting out some feelers out there, just so you know what kind of anime they watch. Lil Dubious. I feel like we need to put something in rose-tinted glasses putting in work, and what better to put than someone who uses Twitch speak in real life. Now I gotta say, there are cases where this is more excusable than rose-tinted glasses putting in work. For instance, you're dating a streamer, like a Ludwig, or a Pokimane, or a Dr. Disrespect, in which case that might be a red flag for a different reason. But if this is a regular person that is using Twitch speak, I don't know what to tell you, man. Sometimes they're just beyond saving. I have personally been in a situation where I was talking to someone and I heard them say Omega lol in real life, and I didn't know whether to slap them across the face or break through the window myself and jump into oncoming traffic. It's not entirely egregious and it doesn't make them a bad person, but as far as cringe goes, as far as Auralos moments go, Twitch speak in real life is top 2. And you know what? It might be 2, because number 1, also going directly into red flag, this is for men in particular, when they call women females. I know some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, but for those of you that don't, this is some of the most commonly cringe things I see every single day. You know when you open up Instagram and you look at someone's story and they have like 50 billion dots of stories, and every single one of them is referring to girls as females, and each of them is saying they don't know how to be raised, their fathers didn't raise them right. Like, dude, first of all, you don't know Latin. You're not calling women by their scientific name, okay? Females. Second of all, you just farted into your Gatorade bottle to see if it would taste any different. You are not that guy. They are the type of dudes that when you're walking with them on the street and they see a girl like fixing her hair, they'll tap you, be like, females. Like, bro, I just saw you eat a booger. Like, please chill. But since we're already on the topic of Instagram, we may as well put it in Lil Dubious. This is when someone thinks that they're an Instagram influencer and then they document every single waking moment of their day. Again, you're not that guy, but it's only a little dubious. Reason being, now of course you can actually become an influencer and social media star. It's just that not everyone is a social media star. For instance, maybe you guys saw 45,000 posts about how TikTok shut down in the US, and then it magically came to, and everyone put it on their stories. My guy, I do not care that Jennifer from the 7th grade, whom I haven't spoken to in 15 years, also noticed that TikTok was down in the US. What the fuck? I want to be completely serious though for a sec. This red flag is not on here, and it is the fact that TikTok is actually back after 12 hours. Please do not be fooled by this. Just so you know, President Donald Trump was the one first pushing the TikTok ban, and now they're glazing him hella hard, working with Donald Trump to bring TikTok back into the United States. It's always about money. This is not politics. This is nothing more than oligarchy America. Regardless, while we're in our social media spree, we may as well put in Run for the Hills for Snapchat. This is when an adult human being uses Snapchat solely to communicate. There's literally no reason why. You know, Snapchat's chatting function is dog shit. There is no reason why other than you want to be secretive or you want to go back to being 15. Oh my god, you need to drop this immediately. And I've seen literal people in bars try to pick up girls by giving them their Snapchat. Oh my cringe. This makes me feel like I'm the red flag. That's how bad the cringe is. Wow, maybe all my red flags are just cringe. I'm learning a lot today. Service workers also. And to round out our social media spree, I'm sure you can see Colleen Ballinger looking at you from the bottom of the page. We're gonna put her in red flag. This is when someone doesn't know how to apologize / is a YouTuber. I mean, there's really not too much to say here. This is like the most standard by-the-book manipulation narcissist angle. I don't know why YouTubers actually have the inability to say I'm sorry or even acknowledge what they did, as though if they don't say anything, it'll be swept under the rug. And sometimes that does happen, but oh my god, no one thinks you're a good person after this. The only people that still support you are people who don't know, which are children. But even outside of the YouTuber angle, if someone doesn't know how to apologize to you, back this shit up. Find your way back to the YouTube channel, Luca Levy. Well said. Now this next one's a little controversial. All of their exes are crazy. A lot of people would put this directly in red flag or rose-tinted glasses putting in the work, but I'ma put it in Lil Dubious. And here's my argument as to why. What if their exes actually are crazy? It is not that hard to imagine that someone has only had 1 or 2 relationships and has unfortunately found themselves on the receiving end of insanity. For instance, what if you are a woman who lives in a country where they literally don't believe in women's rights, and then you move to a country where they do, and you start seeing a new partner, and you tell your partner, yeah, all of my partners actually hated me and didn't want me to vote. What are you supposed to say? I don't believe you, stupid woman. Then the cycle continues. That was a completely awful tangent and dogshit analogy, but I gotta say, you just gotta keep your feelers on this one as well. It's just like the anime thing. Actually, no, this is worse than the anime thing. Okay, we're moving this to rose-tinted glasses putting in work. It is possible to have all their exes be crazy, but the common denominator thing is still right. And then we've got being a good artist. This is a green flag. Why wouldn't it be? It's a hobby, it's a passion. It's not like you're Austrian, born in the 1800s. Similarly, if you are German living in Argentina, that's a yellow flag. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Why would anything be wrong with that? This is something that I also really wanted to talk about. You see this crosswalk? I'm gonna put this in yellow flag. This is when you are walking with someone, and then the hand starts beeping, tells you that you have 15 seconds left, and the person you are walking next to starts running across the crosswalk, as though every single car will now converge exactly to where they are just to kill them. Like, dude, it's not that big a deal. Just finish walking across the crosswalk. You're not gonna look anxious. I'm not gonna have to look at the person who stopped at the red light, make eye contact with them and be like, do the white thing. You know, as an apology. Do you know what I'm talking about? White guy lip thing. Exactly, this one. I won't have to do this to some stranger that just saw my friend run across a crosswalk when they didn't have to. I mean, the more I'm saying it, this is a little dubious. I mean, like, I can't say this is a yellow flag when I've hated on it like this. So if you do that, just take a deep breath next time. I know you're Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sure you're a very fast and athletic person. Nonchalant it. Take it from me. Then we've got being completely emotionally available. That's going and doesn't exist. And then we've got when men, in particular, use 3-in-1 or more shampoos. This is an easily rose-tinted glasses putting in work. Let me tell you, if a product is good for one thing, it is most likely not good for multiple things. Let me continue my string of shitty analogies. You're not gonna go out and buy a toothbrush so that you can use it not only for brushing your teeth, but cleaning shit off your toilet. It's just not a good idea. The reason I would say it's not in Run for the Hills is because some people just don't know, and man, in this economy, I'm not buying shampoo and conditioner. I get it, man. If you have to buy a 3-in-1, you have to buy a 3-in-1. But this is just lazy. Keep an eye on them. Alright, how are we doing so far? We have a lot of yellow flags. Is there anything else that... Oh, this is very controversial. I think when you have a picture of a fish on a dating profile, it is not as bad as people think. Now, personally, I would never do this because it's very cringe. However, a lot of men nowadays don't actually have friends, nor do they have the social reason to take their shirt off in like a mirror pic. That's way worse than a fish pic. So if you have a nice body and you want to show it off, and you have a hobby that's like fishing, okay, shirtless pic works. If you have no friends, the fish is your friend. I get it. It's a yellow flag. It's not necessarily cool, but it's not a red flag. Although I've never actually been on a dating website looking for men, so if I'm wrong there, please let me know. Correct me in the comments. Alright, we've only got a couple left. I would say that colorblindness, a lot of people think that this one is actually a red flag. I don't think so. It's not usually genetic. Obviously, mostly men get it. But as far as I'm concerned, colorblindness should not at all impact your decision whether you should continue a relationship with someone or not. It's a green flag. I know Leonardo DiCaprio feels a little lonely down there by himself. This is when someone's favorite movie is Wolf of Wall Street, Fight Club, or American Psycho. Rose-tinted glasses putting in work. I will say, I like all of these movies, but people who say that they're their favorite movies are very often missing the point. It's always about money. It's always also people who are alpha, but are exactly not alpha. The social awareness of these people are equivalent to someone, for instance, that sees a very popular Korean show come out where really rich people kill poor people, and then many years later decides to actually recreate this game show because it would be funny and really good TV. On a serious note, this is if you feel insecure with someone that you're around. So it's not about them, it's about you feeling uncomfortable with them. Listen to your gut. This is a huge red flag. I know if it's a first date, obviously you're not going to feel super comfortable, but if you consistently do not feel comfortable with these people, back the fuck off. Ooh, this is a fan favorite. This is when they have a completely unrecognizable beat-up phone, or perhaps water bottle. This is instantly rose-tinted glasses putting in work. I mean, you have very few things in life that you really have to protect. I would say your phone is kind of one of them, and it says a lot when their phone looks like this, man. I just don't understand, how does it ever get to that point? It's like you were purposely like smashing against a rock. Like there's just no way. And people in college and high school will do this all the time. Well, they'll take out their phone, they'll give it to you like, oh, watch this video. And then not only can you not see the video because of the cracks on their screen, but when you remove your thumb from the play button, you realize you now have like hepatitis L. I'm actually really liking the distribution here. We have mostly red flags, as the title of the video suggests. Now, next up, I want to talk about when people have like an infinity tattoo or some Asian characters that they just have no understanding about. Actually, is rose-tinted glasses too high? I can understand the argument for it being a little dubious, but I think I'm gonna keep it for rose-tinted glasses putting in work. As someone with a mastery of the Asian language, yes, as a whole, it is so cringe when people don't know what their Chinese characters, Japanese characters say. Like, dude, no research. This says so much about our society. And the infinity thing, okay, what, you want a tattoo, but you didn't know what to tattoo, so you get an infinity? It just speaks to a level of basic that you might want to avoid in your life. If you're watching this video and you have one of these tattoos and you have a good reason as to why, by all means, let me know, and I agree with you. But it's the people who don't have a good reason why, little bit of a red flag. Like, you could be a fuckboy, you could just be a basic bitch, who knows? We got one more red flag to cover, that is, of course, gaslighting, which is going to be easily in Run for the Hills. By the book Emotional Manipulation, if someone is doing this to you, you need to bounce. That person, insane. Probably a narcissist. Probably 6'4", though, and very jacked and handsome. And there you go, that's ranking every red flag ever, kind of, until the next time when you tell me what other red flags we should talk about. But let me know how I did. Would you change any of the tiers? Would you move things around? Do we need more green flags? And if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Again, if you want to see a part 2 to this video, or you want to see any other tier list videos, let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know about any games, series, characters, real world things to do, because everything I do for you. Go check out the other videos on the channel. We have a whole library of variety content. Something for everyone is what I usually say, but I'm realizing that's actually not the case. For a very specific type of person. A super intelligent, handsome, beautiful person. Until next time, stay away from most of these. I love you. Goodbye.